Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of No Smoke. And you saw the title. Yes, today we're going to be talking about the N-word and the most common question that I get concerning it. That question would be, why do African Americans continue to use that word but still find it so offensive when predominantly white people use that word? And so today we're going to unpack that. But before we get into it, I want to address some common misnomers that I received when concerning that word. First of all African Americans do not use that word and are equally offended when anybody uses it. And so that's a common misnomer to think that all African Americans use that word. They do not. Secondly, the N-word is used predominantly in hip hop, which is a subculture of African American culture. All African Americans do not listen to or subscribe to hip hop or the hip hop lifestyle. And so with those misnomers being answered, I'm gonna hop right into the subject matter. And so the N-word, it is used once again in hip hop predominantly. It's a subculture. Everybody does not subscribe to it, but it does exist. And one of the things with hip hop is, it's not just the usage of that one word. If we're honest about hip hop, it's misogynistic, it's very violent, it glorifies drug use, it uses homophobic slurs, different racial epithets, in addition to the N-word. And so the issue that I have with people who often say, well, African Americans use the N-word, but get so offended when other people use the N-word, I want to address this component. Hip hop predominantly uses the N-word. They do. But they do so many other things. And the people that argue against not being able to use the word oftentimes do not subscribe to the hip hop lifestyle. And so what I mean is, if you were the type of person that sagged your pants or loved violent music or were involved in the drug culture or had a certain type of woman, a girlfriend or wife that mirrored hip hop culture, if you were the type to go to clubs and pop bottles, if you drunk lean, if you knew what Molly's were, if you were involved in all of that and then had an issue with not being able to use the N-word, that would make your reason a little bit more plausible. But oftentimes what I find is the people that advocate of why they can't use it versus African Americans, they want nothing to do with the hip hop lifestyle. They don't live it, they don't mirror it, they don't use none of the verbiage that's associated with it. All they want to do is extrapolate that one word. That's it. They want nothing else to do with hip hop other than the one word that's used in it. And so you kind of have to ask yourself that question is, why do I just want that one word? Why do I not want anything else to do with this subculture except that one word? That would be the equivalent of meeting a single mother and saying, I love you, I'm gonna marry you, but I want nothing to do with your child or your family. That mother would look at that guy very suspicious and not accept him. Well, it's the same way. When African Americans in the subculture of hip hop see that the people complaining about not using the word has no other affiliation or desire to learn anything else about the culture other than that one word, it makes it look very suspicious. And so whatever your motivation is, now I do know the hip hop's motivation for using N-word. I'm not advocating for it, but at least I understand the motivation. The question you have to ask yourself is, if you're not willing to submerge yourself in hip hop culture or want anything to do with it, why do you want to use the word? What is your motivation behind using it? And I want to close this video with saying, addressing all races and gender, oftentimes the things that we say reflect the life that we want to have and the life that we lead. And if your words are in conflict with the life that you want to have and the life that you want to lead, should you continue to use the word? After all, life and death are in the power of the tongue. And that's no smoke.